When everything is not as it seems.
Hi, would you like to come in for free dessert?
Sure.
Can you hold this for a sec?
Sure.
Here's your dessert.
Thank you.
Hey, there's something in your eye.
Oh, thank you.
Do you remember where we met?
On the street.
Have you tried this before?
No, never. Thank you for the desserts.
Nothing wrong with free dessert, bro.
Hey, you're viral.
Today we saw a cleaner on the street, so we brought him inside for some hot mochi dessert. We asked about his life and he told us where he lived.
On the street.
He asked if he had access to clean drinking water.
No, never.
He was so touched by our kindness and could not hold back his tears. Come visit Soy Talk in Richmond. So
This is literally how social media really works. Subscribe. When everything is not as it seems.
Hi, would you like
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Lawgic. I apologize that I started so late this evening. Don't like starting late. Really, I want to start at 10 o'clock with a cutoff at 10:30. That's really the latest I like to start. I don't like starting so late. And I was going to make that 10:30 deadline. I was. And I was actually working on putting Jim in the show with me. Called him up and I was like, Jim, you want to join me tonight? He's like, sure, let's do it. And that was good. And we were putting together, I was like, this topic, that topic. He's still sending me all these great links. He basically collates them during the day. And I was going through, I was like, and I reject at least 80% of the links that he gives me. The topics that he gives me, I'll reject like 80% of them. But yeah, 15 to 20% of them I think are potentially show worthy. Then I'll probably whittle that down to because he'll give me 25 topics, like literally 25 different topics. I should show you some of his emails. He works so hard at it. He really does. And I was like sitting there, I was trying to explain to him the way to structure a story in a way that's, I think at least is engaging and I've had some success with. So don't think I'm just using him. I try training him also how to do this whole podcasting thing in a way that I found some measure of success with. So that was the plan. That was the plan. And he actually said to me, he's like, all right, so we're going to start 10:30. And I was like, yeah. I said, that sounds good. Because from the time you sent me several DM, remember for 4 months, and you sent me several DM. Well, yeah, from the time, from like putting everything, from the time that I'm posting, I like posting notification at least a half hour before. That's a big thing for me. Otherwise, no one is here. No one is getting notices. It's terrible. So I always want to have a half hour. So I need to have everything set up by 10 o'clock the latest. That to meet my 10:30 deadline. And I'll be working frantically to hit that deadline. Some reporter like you, I feel like I'm an old school typewriter, like tick, 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 clack, 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 ding. Like that's basically, I'm frantically working away when I'm feeling like that edge coming up. And the hardest part is usually the thumbnail, which I'm not crazy about the thumbnail I got now. Recently, I've been trying to use ChatGPT and they suck at this. You don't care about this stuff. You care about actually what's going on in the world. Right? So let me, why is this being so difficult on me now? That's not good. Got that out of the way. Yeah, what you really care about is what's going on in the world. Because I was going to put out, so I had all these different stories that I wanted to cover. And I was like, okay, that's a show. That's a show. Then Jim couldn't make it. For one reason or another, family matters. So I certainly understand that. I'm not upset with him. So, but I was planning on him sort of feeding me the topics and and doing the show a certain way where I sort of wanted to come at things fresh. So that I'm coming at it fresh. I just don't have anyone feeding it to me. And then he sends me a notification saying I can't make it, but this is something you probably should cover. And he tells me about this situation going on with American warships going to Venezuela. And I was like, how do I, that this is breaking news right now. He's like, you probably want to cover this. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to. I have to cover that. How do I not cover this? So yeah, and that's basically that's where we got to start. And that meant I had to restructure the thumbnail and title and description and all that other stuff. So here we go. Here we go. You guys want to hear about this U.S. missile destroyers? You probably do, I assume. So I'm going to just start there. 3 U.S. missile destroyers sail toward Venezuela to combat narco-terrorists. What? This is the man of peace is now sending out missile destroyers. That's a little crazy. All right. More details are emerging about President Trump's latest show of force in Latin America, aimed at narco-terrorists cartels, fueling America's drug crisis, which claims 100,000 lives a year. So, first off, I'm curious, do you like the idea of him sending warships to Venezuela to fight narco-terrorist cartels? I am going to put that in, I'm going to make that a, let's do that as a poll, because I am curious what you guys think about that. I'm very curious about that. I should put a goal up also. Let me make a goal real quick also. The goal will be, we'll do the 3-hour show again tonight. I just have a feeling. I would just have a lot to cover. God, so much to cover now. And my question is, do you want to see... Oh, I did that wrong. I put it as 10. I meant to put 15. No. I have to change that. Definitely don't want it as 10. All right. So I will do a 3-hour show tonight. In fact, we reached 15 yellows. That's what we're going to do. I'm not going to... Yes, I know I ended up giving you like a 3-hour show, even though we didn't reach our goal. Tonight, I don't expect to be going there unless we do. So there you go. But the poll is essentially, do you make that a... do you think that we should be sending warships to fight cartels? Do you like that idea? Narco cartels. Do you like the idea of sending... I can really hear arguments both ways. Sending... Sorry, I was just confused by why this wasn't showing. Of sending missile... warships. Narco cartels. Start poll. All right. There we go. So, according to Reuters, 3 Aegis destroyers, surveillance aircraft, and attack submarine are being deployed to international waters off Venezuela. Sources close to the media outlets say 4,000 sailors and Marines will support the large force projection mission that includes 3 U.S. Aegis guided missile destroyers, the USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, and USS Sampson, along with P-8 surveillance planes, other warships, and at least 1 attack submarine. That feels like it's like a real invasion. That's not like this is not a drill. The operation will run for several months and focus on enhancing hemispheric defense to dismantle narco-terrorist cartels, command and control nodes that funnel drugs into the U.S. Also, this force projection is a signal to Beijing to limit Chinese activity in the region, particularly around critical infrastructure and trade choke points. The Trump administration has put Mexico's Sinaloa cartel and Venezuela's Tren de Aragua on notice, classifying them as foreign terrorist organizations. The broader understanding is that this is all part of a hemispheric defense. I'm going to show the flow of fentanyl from China to the U.S. Fentanyl precursors are shipped from China into the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Once in North America, drug cartels use precursor chemicals to manufacture finished fentanyl for distribution. The deployment also signals, they're not showing it go to Venezuela, right? Deployment also signals to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's government that Washington is not playing around. Maduro told the nation on Monday that his country will defend our seas, our skies, and our lands. He hinted at what he called the outlandish, bizarre threat of a declining empire. On Tuesday, Mao Ning, a spokeswoman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, said combating drugs is a shared responsibility around the world. Quote, but we hope that major countries should play the role responsibly, maintain regional peace and stability, and properly handle the issue together with relevant countries. So that is kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. This is the notion of Trump deploying troops. I don't know that he's ever done that. I don't know that he's ever done that before. Yeah. So they said, Reuters said that they were going to be deploying. Now it seems as if they are. Anyhow, so there's that. There's that. I'm curious what you guys think, and I'm checking over in the ghetto also, because you ghetto folk are important to me. So what do you guys think? Do you like the idea? Do you like it? Is it your type of deal? We're fighting fentanyl. It doesn't seem as if we're going to be like. I'm just. Is it designed to patrol? Is it coming in by boat? Like, I don't understand the objective here. I feel as if we need a lot more explanation as to what the mission is here specifically. Like having ships there off the coast of Venezuela, how is that going to slow down? I assume that the belief is that these drugs are being shipped by water. I guess. If you're not going to be invading, you're just going to be patrolling on the shoreline there. I don't know what that does. I really don't know what that does. It also doesn't seem like they'll be engaging anyone, which I like that. I mean, the less engagement, the better. Thank you so much, Morabata. 1 down. 1 out of 15. I don't know why it didn't show for me that you actually gave that one. That's what I was a little bothered by. It should show 1. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But a lot of you are saying that you like this idea. The early results are in, and the early results are very favorable to the idea of him doing this. I'll tell you this. My take on it is I'm fine with it. You saying it could be a distraction? Maybe. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. A distraction from what? It could be that it's like basically designed to be a little bit of a flex without really putting any of our troops in harm's way. And I don't mind a little flex here and there. If no one's in harm's way, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But unless I don't know, what are they going to be like? Basically commandeering ships that are in the region that they have reason to suspect are carrying drugs. Like, is that I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know. These 3 ships, like, what are they doing? And all those cruisers, I don't understand what the heck is happening here. None of us really know. We have P-8 spy planes. Are they going to be flying over Venezuelan airspace? This, according to Reuters, they're saying the broader region will include several P-8 spy planes. Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do with. I don't know. We're sort of left in the dark. And when I tried searching on X for this, there's very, very limited information. Very few people are talking about this. So I expect that to change. But according to Reuters, Venezuela's communications ministry did not immediately respond to requests for comment without referring to the warships. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said that he's going to defend the seas. That we got. I just don't know. I think it's kind of a big deal, but I'm struggling to actually picture what their orders are. I don't know. What do you guys think? The better question is, why not be there? Our ships have to be somewhere. Why not have the options open? Okay. Well, you never want to risk an international incident by having, armed ships patrolling foreign borders, right? Like if suddenly like Russia said, "Hey, what's the harm in us having warships off the coast of Los Angeles?" I think we'd be like, "There's a big harm there." So I understand Venezuela is not exactly Russia, but they each got their own little thing. That was a wise choice on your part. Don't answer me because you're you're an AG. You shouldn't. AGs shouldn't answer me. Okay, let's see. Job 9 wants to get my attention here. There's a lot of things he's sending me. A lot of things. Holy moly. Why? What's going on here? I'm scrolling up. We're going to cover quickly what job 9 is giving me here. So first he gave me Wall Street apes. We're going to do this real fast. I can't believe this is real. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and Democrats got to decide whose homes burned down in California. Spencer Pratt, you ready to be sick to your stomach? What? What does that mean? Your mind is just going to explode. Karen Bass has responded to a lawsuit against her for burning down the Palisades and killing 12 senior citizens. And ready for this? Quote, public officials have exclusive authority to decide whether fire protection should be provided at all. And if so, to what extent? And then you can't second guess with judges and juries if they decide. What have I been paying taxes for?
Stick to your stomach. Hopefully you already ate, because when you hear this, your mind is going to just explode. Karen Bass has responded to a lawsuit against her for burning down the Palisades and killing 12 senior citizens. And ready for this? Public officials have exclusive authority to decide whether fire protection should be provided at all, and if so, to what extent. And then you can't second guess with judges and juries if they decide what have I been paying taxes for? Okay, give me my money back, because I decided to the extent that you didn't provide fire protection, I want the money that I thought was being provided. So you owe me a big bill for paying at least the last 8 years in the Palisades for my little taxes. I want them back. Send them to me now. And I also want the money that my taxes paid for this lawyer to write this, that also I paid for. I want that money also back.
So I want to comment on this. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are human slime. Terrible people. Awful, evil, terrible people. Awful, evil, terrible people who are incompetent, or they're either incompetent or they're just malicious. And probably it's a lot of column A and a heavy dose of column B. Technically, you probably want her claims about having that choice to some degree be true. Meaning, I know it sounds sickening. I know it sounds aggravating, but she's running the executive branch of the city. You need to have your leaders be able to make decisions without worrying about them being personally liable. Seems like that's a lawsuit against public officials. And simply because they make a decision that may turn out to be disastrous, we can't have them held accountable for that. Otherwise, no one would ever take the job. You want them to be able to act the same way when we talk about presidential immunity. You want them to have, you want your president to be serving their executive role without fear of criminal or financial retribution for the fulfillment of their duties. You sort of have to say the same thing for a governor or for a mayor. So while it sounds terrible, particularly because it's being applied to these incompetent, evil people, in principle, there's logic behind it. And that's the way we need to set things up, that they do have that imperviousness to decide things with impunity without worrying about the personal repercussions to their life or freedom or personal prospects. You need to do it that way. Otherwise, how can anyone be an effective leader? So I don't blame the attorney for drafting that. If I was her attorney, I would certainly include that. You have to include that. And it's the most powerful argument out there. So I know it sounds horrific and it sounds totally unfair. And the fact that this is the problem with electing really evil, stupid people. That's the repercussions, is that your house burns down and you can't even go after them for being evil and stupid. Now, I don't know about, you can talk about the legitimacy of the particular elections that saw them get elected. That's a different issue. That would be a criminal thing if, in fact, they were part of a scheme in order to help, steal an election. But once they have been deigned with those specific titles of governor and mayor, respectively, you need to have them be free and unfettered to make decisions that, unfortunately, sometimes a leader is going to have to make decisions that are going to have negative impacts on people that are often unforeseeable as to who's directly affected and often foreseeable. So I don't really have a problem with what they put in that lawsuit. I know that might surprise you because it'll come across like I'm defending Karen Bass. I'm not defending Karen Bass individually. I'm defending the notion that we need our leaders to have that type of unilateral decision-making authority without fear of reprisal through the courts. Because otherwise you just have leaders who can never lead. So yeah, that's what I would tell Wall Street Apes who was sharing that. There's another one here about violating.
And I just wanted to let you know that
this is also about Newsom. So I'm gonna do this one real quick here. I'll give you a second one, Job 9. Okay, you sent me several DM. I'll give you a second one.
Hey, everybody, Mark.
This is just off the cuff. I haven't vetted these out. I'm trying to be nice because I like you guys, and especially people who are supporting my channel. You want to get my take on things. I think it's appropriate that I do my best to give you that.
Once you're here, I'm in Sacramento, and I just wanted to let you know that last night, the Dillon Law Group sued the state legislature over gut and amend. The California Constitution says that a bill, when introduced, needs to sit for 30 days before they have any hearings. Yesterday, over California redistricting, they introduced absolutely new language, something that the voters of California had not seen. They did not wait 30 days. They started hearings on those things today. That's a violation of the Constitution. The only way that they could have avoided this lawsuit is have a 3/4 vote. They refused to have that 3/4 vote yesterday. And so Dillon Law Group has filed a lawsuit against the state legislature saying that this redistricting plan that they introduced is unconstitutional because they are violating the rules set forth by we the people in the Constitution to protect ourselves from an overreaching legislature. Stay tuned. I will give you more updates soon.
So that's an interesting idea. Basically saying they failed to follow proper procedure, and accordingly, they can't go forward with their redistricting plan on the timeline that they're looking for. And the timeline is for the redistricting plan that California is looking to use in retaliation to Governor Abbott in Texas is very critical, because you sort of need to have things set up in advance, and they're feeling, I'm sure, a crunch to try and get this done quickly. The viability of this lawyer's suit, I can't tell you without actually looking at his papers. Some people, when they file suits like this, have legitimate bases, or it seems like they present as having legitimate bases, and then when you read their papers and it looks as if it was written by a complete and total crackpot. I'm not saying that the Dillon Law Group is filled with crackpots. I'm not making that allegation at all. I'm simply explaining why. I'm trying to explain to you why I'm reluctant to weigh in on the legitimacy of this claim until I actually see papers. That's a video which is an interesting thing for a layperson to observe and sort of take note of as far as things happening in the world. It's just that I know I've seen so many people talk about things that are, unconstitutional, and they sound like they're lunatics. He doesn't, if he's assuming he's a lawyer, which I assume he is, I assume he's not a lunatic, but even some lawyers are outright lunatics. So until I see his papers, I can't tell you whether or not you should put much faith in his fight against the state, saying you failed to follow proper procedure. One of the issues that I expect, certainly, even if he's constitutionally correct, one of the issues I think he may have is a matter of having standing to bring that suit. I would take that suit a lot more seriously if, in fact, it was coming, let's say, from the California House Republicans, right? The state legislature's House Republicans bringing that lawsuit, or even the federal House Republicans, not from the state legislature, but I'm talking about, Kevin Kiley, whose seat is one that they're looking to district out. That would be something that they would, if he was bringing a suit, so I would have a lot more faith that there's legitimacy to it and has a viable chance potentially, even in a hostile environment like California, that would have a potential for a stronger potential for viability rather than some layman attorney. And there is a natural bias with respect to, I guess, the confidence level you have given how they dress. And this individual, he's dressed like Saul Goodman. He's not dressed like the typical shark. Whoa. See, I tried opening something up very slyly
From his
here.
mouth to your ears, it's Brian Kilmeade.
We need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done.
Oh my God, stop it. I tried very slyly, very, very slyly, without any of you being able to tell, opening up another tab, which was going to spell out the 5 seats that are in jeopardy. And of course, it's Fox, and Fox sucks. So they always have these stupid pop-ups. But I did sort of put this away. This was something I found even without Jim. Here are the 5 GOP House seats that could be wiped out with Newsom's California redistricting plan. And if you just go through the list, I'm not even reading through the article because I hate Fox that much. So first congressional district, which is Doug LaMalfa. I don't know who that is. Kevin Kiley. Well, I do know who that is. That's the one who looks like he's 14 years old and makes really good showing in during the different House sessions. He seems like a powerhouse in those. David Villado, I don't know much about him. When I say make a good showing, I'm saying he seems like he's MAGA, which is a bigger loss than someone who I don't know anything about. That's my point. But obviously we need the seats. Then you have Ken Calvert of the 41st district, and finally there's Darrell Ist of the 48th district. So yeah, those are the 5 seats which are likely to be imperiled if, in fact, California is successful in getting their redistricting done. So if you told me that they had attorneys who were filing suit, again, based on the procedural issues, I would have a lot more confidence than a guy who looks like, Saul Goodman. So does that mean Saul Goodman can never win? No, of course he can win. It's hard for me to like feel a great deal of confidence though seeing that. I just know the bias that you face. I know the bias that you're gonna face if you're not like part of a white shoe law firm. It's wrong, but it's reality. Your dulcet tones did their job. Take my money. Oh, thank you so much, Aaron. You're too kind. JH, Russia was real big also in Venezuela. I think Trump got Putin to back off of Venezuela as part of the Ukraine deal so he can crack down on this drug trade. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks. Couldn't Florida sue California over issuing this guy a CDL? Florida sue California over issuing this guy a CDL. I don't know what that is. I don't know what a CDL is. California driver's license. That's what you're trying to say. Which guy? Which guy? You talking about that guy from the last video? The first video that Job gave me? I don't know. Please see the last one. You'll love it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Hey everybody, Mark Moisture here. I'm in Sacramento, and I just wanted to let you know that last night the Dillon Law Group sued the state legislature over gut and amend. The California Constitution.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay, this is good. Okay, yeah, this is my kind of thing. You're right, Job for 9. This was a good find. And I didn't know about this. Breaking Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, this is from Job for 9. Adam Schiff has just created a political organization called the Senator Schiff Legal Defense Fund to help cover the impending cost of indictment for mortgage fraud. I think he wishes he had that. I think he wishes he had that pardon on this thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. The Senator Schiff Legal Defense Fund. That is hilarious. Wellesley's saying I put an old article in Locals on how the mayor might be responsible. This is when I was talking about the fact that we probably don't want people like Mayor Bass to be held responsible for this, just because we want our leaders to be actually free to do what they need to do. Okay, let's see what we got. In a setback for LA City Council in dispute over Sunland Blue shooting, the Supreme Court Monday let stand a ruling that elected lawmakers can be forced to pay damages personally for official actions such as rescuing officers from financial judgments and police brutality suits. Now, okay, that's from 1994, this case. Without comment or dissent, what is this? This is from LA Times. Without comment or dissent, the justices refused to hear the LA City's attorney's argument that local lawmakers are entitled to absolute immunity from such damage suits. In March, a federal appeals court in San Francisco ruled that while legislators cannot be sued for passing laws, they can be held personally liable for decisions that are administrative or executive in nature. Now, I want to be clear here. When I was telling you how we need them to be free to actually do what they are going to do, I was telling you my philosophy about what the law should be. I wasn't telling you about what I certainly was not weighing in, and I'm glad that Wellesley called this to my attention. I was not telling what the law is in California. I am not remotely surprised that a state like California, which basically has become the world's center has become a breeding ground for weak leadership, for just limp-wristed losers who are too ineffective to actually be granted any sort of stage. I'm not surprised if they don't understand that a good leader to be a leader, you need to have the ability to act with impunity. So I wouldn't be surprised if the law in California is no, we don't want you to be a real leader, because they want you to just follow whatever the crowd's telling you to do. They don't want genuine leadership. So if in fact the law in California is different from what I was saying philosophically we should be looking for, I wouldn't be surprised. Certainly I've never reviewed that area of law in California, but I will make a commitment to you that I have absolutely no intention of reviewing the law in California on this matter. I certainly, if she ends up being held personally liable, that's nice. That's good. I doubt she will be, but if she ends up being found personally liable, go get them. Go get them. But especially, California has their stupid rules, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I was just telling you what we should be looking for, not what necessarily is. Red Delta says that's Harmeet Dillon's firm. Dillon Law Group? That guy didn't look like he's Harmeet Dillon. Could be. I think it is called a Dillon Law Group. That guy didn't look nearly as powerful as a... Why? The Dillon Law Group. The Dillon Law Group is... Yeah, he did say the Dillon Law Group. He did say that. That's what Red Delta's pointing out. Oh, no. Ron Coleman used to work for the Dillon Law Group, but he broke off from them recently. So he was my source for their ongoings. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, if it's Dillon Law Group, I'll have a lot more confidence in it. That's the kind of white shoe place I was talking about. So, is that the right term, white shoe? I think it's the right term. I think it should be the right term. I don't know. Could be. Could be the right term. Who knows? Who knows? All right. Well, there you go. That's the new stuff that I had to basically get out of the way from the jump. We got that out of the way. Let's talk about what's going on in the world specifically as it relates to. We'll start with as it relates to Trump. The left is so petty, so petty. Oh my God, are they petty? You got to let me share this with you. First, you have USA Today. It's so stupid. A Ukraine talks. Trump was a child among adults. You can't trust him or Putin. This is the opinion of Rex Hupke. Now, tell us, Rex, what's on your mind? Trump, as always, is mistaking manipulation for respect. In the place of logic, he is unquenchable narcissism. Putin, a former KGB agent, has the president's heart and can play him like a fiddle. You doofus. You utter doofus. Playing him like a fiddle. Play him like a fiddle. Doofus. All right. I'm not guaranteeing anything. Before I go forward in this article, I planned on doing this. Like I said, I wanted to have the structure of this show was a little different than what I like to do on a regular basis. And then I was going to have Jim read the article to me, and I wanted to have a natural reaction and explain to you as Jim was reading, sort of cut him short and say, wait, hold up, read that last line again. And then basically weigh in with you guys about the asininity that we were witnessing in this article. The reason I'm telling you this in advance right now is because I have a feeling I may end up ranting, but I'm not sure. So if I start losing my cool here, please make sure that you calm me down. Okay? President Donald Trump is an easily glazed sucker who fancies himself a genius. That fact was clear as day when a hot mic at the White House caught him making a truly infantile claim. Oh, okay. Let's hear this. This is the hot mic moment. Oh, okay. You're going to show us do you link us to the hot mic moment? Do you have that? No. We played the hot mic moment. The hot mic moment was actually other leaders. Oh, here it is, maybe. I got an ad for 26 seconds here. In case you missed the hot mic moment yesterday, I'd like you to hear it, so this way we can talk about this. And it's astonishing that he knows about the hot mic moment, references it. The hot mic moment is a huge compliment to Trump being given by other world leaders.
Jeff Zeleny, I want you and our viewers to listen to something that the President Trump, didn't intend to be public, but his mic was hot. This was as he and the other European leaders were sitting down to the meeting, and he was talking about Vladimir Putin and what Trump believes Putin will do for him personally.
Thank you.
Okay. This is not the hot mic moment that I was referring to. The hot mic moment, which is relevant, is when they were basically saying, these other world leaders were saying to him, like, how do you deal with the press? They're just like relentlessly annoying to you. I like, and saying, I hate talking to them. I never want to. This woman next to him was like, I hate talking to them. I never want to deal with them. I don't know how you deal with this every day. That's not the hot mic moment that they're playing. That's not what CNN is giving us. I haven't heard this one yet. Let's see what we got.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that? As crazy as it sounds.
Jeff?
A couple of key words.
Okay. I don't know. So he thinks that Putin wants to make a deal for him. Let's hear what these idiots think.
And there are for me. I think he wants to make a deal for me. I mean, it's not altogether surprising that President Trump thinks this. Whenever there's a hot mic moment, we're always slightly more interested than when it's something that he would have just said. It's not actually all that dissimilar from things he said throughout the campaign. But what's different about it now is the whole comment there, wants to make a deal for me. That was at the root of President Trump's entire argument that I can end this on day one, that his relationship with President Putin was so strong from that first term. They were stablemates, as he once said on 60 Minutes, of which there was no evidence of. But this is just kind of the latest version of it. There's been zero evidence that President Putin is using his relationship with Donald Trump to do anything for Trump, to end it for Trump. So I think...
He came to Alaska. And then, by the way, follow up today is he agreed to sit down with Zelensky. So who do you think he's doing that for? You think he's doing that for you, Chuckles? Is that what you think? You think he would have done that for Biden? He ever do anything like that for Obama? No, he just took Crimea with Obama. So yeah, I do think he's doing things for Donald. Yeah, I do. I think you have to be blind as a bat to not see it.
It was just a window into President Trump's mindset there, and perhaps not that surprising, but
yeah, I mean,
not that surprising that he's spot on accurate in his assessment of the situation.
It is.
Oh my God, these people literally deranged. Let's go back to this knucklehead. That fact was clear as day when a hot mic at the White House caught him making a truly infantile claim. So that's the infantile claim. Really? Why would you think it's infantile? Well, this is the stupidest thing in the world. Why would you even think only you think it's infantile? European leaders accompanied Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to an August 18th meeting with Trump to chart a course for peace with Russia, days after the U.S. president had his tail handed to him by Russian President Vladimir Putin at a meeting in Alaska. When did that happen? What planet are you on? His tail handed to him. And what Trump thought was a private conversation with French President Emmanuel Macron, Mike caught him saying, Putin, I think he wants to make a deal. I think he wants to make a deal for me. Do you understand? As crazy as it sounds. Yes, that does sound crazy. No, only to you TDS people. Because it is crazy. Trump, as always, is mistaking manipulation for respect. In the place of logic, he is unquenchable narcissism. Putin, a former KGB agent, has Trump's heart and who knows what else, and can play him like a fiddle. You talk about Trump being childish when you have to make this kind of ridiculous innuendo. They are what they say about others. You are a loser, Rex. You are such a loser. If the Russian president wanted to end his war on Ukraine And I would love it if he did, though he clearly doesn't. It would have nothing to do with Trump and everything with Putin trying to make the world better for Putin. Oh, here you go. Here you go. This is where we're going. He's a child, and if he manages to be successful, that too is him being played. You sick, demented loser. No matter what the result is, no matter how positive it is, you are so twisted in your vile anger, hatred towards Trump, which has no legitimate basis other than the fact that he exposed you for being you and your ilk for being a bunch of freaking losers. But as far as the impact he's had on America, that your twisted, demented perspective on Donald Trump has you basically admitting right here in this paragraph that if he does manage to get a treaty here, it's not because he did anything good. No, that also means he's played. So no matter what happens here, I'm telling you now, this is Rex Hupke telling you this, as if this isn't a stupid looking name. I guess it's probably, I don't even know what the origin of a Hupke is, but that he's basically saying, I'm telling you right now, I don't know the future, and I have no idea how to read the geopolitical landscape as to how things are unfolding, but I will tell you that no matter how it unfolds, Trump lost and screwed up. That's what this moron is trying to tell you. This is the insight and perspective. This is the fair journal. I know this is not journalism. It's labeled as an opinion piece, but they're airing opinions from jackasses like Rex Hupke. So because they obviously think that, oh, this is something that's, poignant perspective, rather than it just being the rantings of someone who, after he's done with this, is likely sitting at some old school typewriter typing out a freaking manifesto, because you have to be so sick and twisted and just completely bent out of shape that you cannot accept reality, and that it always has to come through your twisted, ridiculous, I hate Trump, he's evil, orange man perspectives, that you're telling us in advance that the only way a deal happens here is not because Trump manages to actually work a deal somehow, from your perspective, miracle of miracles, from history's perspective, well, based on the fact that this dude keeps getting peace done over and over again. But no matter how it works out, you're assuming that it has to be that he's in the wrong, he got played. No matter what happened here, oh, how miserable your life must be, Rex Hupke. Oh, how sad and miserable you must be that you have to sit there trying to figure out, how do I twist today's news into something that's Donald Trump's fault? Like, this is the reason for your existence. Let me tell you something, buddy boy. Let me tell you something, okay? I don't say this to a lot of people, but I will say it to you, Rex, okay? Try marijuana, because you need to chill. Get some brownies, some edibles, or something like that. It's probably better than drinking. Probably better than drinking your misery away. And you're still going to be twisted with anger. You're still going to have a very ugly black soul. You're still going to be someone who, after you die and your body is given to science, they're going to carve open that mammoth chest of yours and find an itty-bitty little blackened heart. That I'm positive of. I'm positive that you donated your body to science long ago. I have no doubt about that. And I'm also positive that heart of yours is this tiny little thing that I'm sure is stressed beyond belief and is continually pumping to try and basically make sure that it's covering the mass that is Rex Hupke. And most of that mass is the fat in his head. Oh my God, the bitter anger. So enraged, the blood pumping so fast. The blood pressure must be going through the roof because you're so bitter and so angry that no matter what happens here, Trump screwed up. No peace deal, Trump screwed up. Is a peace deal, Trump got played by Putin. You're such a loser. Oh my gosh. The coronary that this guy is heading for. The man is a violent dictator, a monster. And by the way, he could be talking, from Rex Hupke's perspective, about both Putin and Trump. He couldn't care less about Trump, seeing him for exactly what he is, a self-absorbed, opportunistic rube. You're the only rube here. Read the staggeringly daft quote from Trump as he was flanked by the heads of several European countries who all flew to Washington, D.C. to help Zelensky deal with America's Putin-admiring toddler-in-chief. You are so bitter. You got 3.5 more years of this, Rexy boy. 3.5 more years. Quote, I don't think there's any issue that's overly complex. It's a point now where people want to do things. I really do believe, I've known Putin for a long time. I've always had a great relationship with him. I think that President Putin wants to find an answer too. Putin was bombing the daylights out of Ukraine hours before this meeting took place. So that doesn't, why, how is that disproving anything? And here's Trump trying to convince the world that Putin wants peace and making the absurd suggestion that decisions involving Ukrainian security and the nation's territory are not overly complex. You moron, you ignorant jackass. If Putin is looking to have to engage in peace, he wants to do it from a position of strength. So I'm not remotely surprised that he would step up his attacks in order to try and weaken the resolve of Ukraine. It is in no way whatsoever reflective of his state of mind as to whether or not he is genuine in an effort to engage in good faith peace talks or not. But like a high school kid, you're basically saying, oh, how can you think that he's talking peace when he's bombing Ukraine? They're at war. That's it. They're at war. Wake up, Rex. Wake up. Who is this idiot? Am I going to get the words I've always had a great relationship with him when the him refers to Putin would be comedic if it weren't spoken with the utmost sincerity by a guy presently in charge of our country. Throughout the day-long White House meetings, Trump showed himself to be a child among adults. Really? Those are the adults. Those are the adults, the ones who basically are saying, we need to run there and help Zelensky because he's not strong enough without us. So we need to run to D.C. We need to run there to help him. That's the adults that you admire. At one point, sitting next to Zelensky, Trump ranted about his hatred of mail-in balloting, saying, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go and you can ask me, they ask my license plate. Yeah, say he meant driver's license. Like a doofus, you have to sit here. You're gonna harp on the license plate like an idiot. No, they didn't. Nobody at polling place ever asked anyone for their license plate. Oh, wow. Oh, you got him. Oh, you got him. Oh, my God. This is why no one thinks you're relevant. This is why. This is why. You basically would sit there and just sort of like, and completely ignore when Biden would confuse billions and trillions while having conversations about the economy, lose his train of thought, and drift off to start wondering where the ice cream truck sound was coming from. And you were like, oh, look at him. And and Trump, in the middle of a whole complex negotiation and fielding one complex question after another, has a malapropism where he refers to license plate instead of driver's license. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said license plates. I gotcha, idiot. And he's the childish one. You're not the childish one, Rex. He's the childish one. He's the childish one. Stupid. He said of D.C., the city sent the U.S. National Guard into to fight crime wave he made up. Oh, really? The restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time. That's nonsense. DC's Fox affiliate reported DC restaurant dining plunges as Trump's crackdown continues. What time are these pictures being shown? Like this is proving anything. Oh. So those pictures could be like at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know what the heck you're showing me here. And the president, pathetically thirsty for a Nobel Peace Prize, kept bragging that he would stop 6 wars, a self-aggrandizing claim not at all supported by facts. Oh, okay. I'm gonna just now I gotta jump in with this. On this one, I gotta jump in. Where was it? Give me a moment. Do you think that he's crazy for thinking that he should get? You think he's crazy for thinking that he should get a Nobel Peace Prize? Okay. All right. We'll just pull up this right here. We'll just pull this up right here. Trump mentioned yesterday that one of the conflicts he put to bed was between Cambodia and Thailand. Look at this.
Dear Mr. President Trump, we are standing here today with hearts full of appreciations for your instrumental role in bringing about the recent ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand. The border conflict, which had escalated recently, caused immense sufferings and instability for the people of both nations. Your diplomatic engagement and visionary intervention were critical in de-escalating tension and facilitating a truce. Your commitment to promoting peace and stability for Cambodia and Thailand is deeply commendable. The ceasefire, which was achieved in recent talks in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, is a testament to your extraordinary statesmanship to resolve conflict and preventing catastrophic war between the two nations. It is our sincere hopes that this initial success will lay the groundwork for a lasting and comprehensive resolution to the long-standing territorial dispute. The people of both Thailand and Cambodia deserve to live in peace and without fear. Your actions have provided a path toward that goal, and for that, we are profoundly grateful, and we thank you.
They're in a cult. They're in the Trump cult. They're in the Trump cult. There's no Trump cult. There's no Trump cult. He doesn't insist that people who join the Trump cult wear orange robes. Orange Man does not insist that they wear orange robes. There's no cult. Chill.
For your leadership and dedication to conflict resolution on the world stage. Today, 70,000 Cambodian Buddhist monks are wholeheartedly supportive of our Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet to nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of your historic contribution in advancing world peace. Please accept, Mr. President, the renewal assurances of our esteem. From the
70,000 monks urging their president to nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. 70,000 monks. And the president, pathetically thirsty for a Nobel Peace Prize, kept bragging he stopped 6 wars, self-grandizing claim, not at all supported by facts. Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. In no way, shape, or form. You're such a loser. Oh, my God. You're such a loser. Wow. It must suck to be you, Rex Hupke. It must suck. So what did the world wind up with after the serious Europeans met with the frivolous American bore? A vague assurance America would play with what the New York Times called an as yet unspecified role in security guarantees and a non-binding, non-specific plan for a meeting between Putin and Zelensky and maybe Trump. Yeah, that's actually incredibly significant. I know you're trying to downplay it, but it's incredibly significant. In the last 4 years of this war, have they ever sat down with each other yet? Idiots. Trump won't commit to demanding a ceasefire before any negotiations with Russia, something Zelensky and European leaders smartly see as essential. Yeah, you know best. You know best. Oh, how many treaties, how many deals have you brokered? How many? How many have you brokered? Because I don't know. I would just defer to the guy who's actually, brokered some peace deals before, and he's done more probably in his lifetime than any world leader in the last century. But you know best. You know best, Rexy boy. This is not at all a tainted perspective that you have. Americans should feel profoundly embarrassed to have Trump in charge. As with Trump's recent summit with Putin in Alaska, the August 18 talks with our allies marked an embarrassing day for America and the key problem for Ukraine, for all of Europe. How was it embarrassing? What the hell was embarrassing about it? You don't even tell us what was embarrassing about it. You're so bitter and angry. And the key problem for Ukraine, for all of Europe, and for the world is that everybody besides Trump knows Putin can't be trusted. And everybody, including Putin, knows Trump can't be trusted. America needs a sharp leader. It elected a fussy child. You are so bitter. This doofus. I was right. He is fat. I was right. I just guessed. That's Rex Hupke. Rex Hupke. He's so bitter. I don't think I used my real name on here. Did I? Did I use my real name in here? I don't remember. Create an account. I know I have a Blue Sky account. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with this idiot. We got bigger fish to fry than this moron. Speaking of bigger fish to fry. Abby Phillips letting her hair down.
I think it's extraordinary that this is even happening. I mean, think about the fact that you have a phalanx of European leaders getting on planes at a moment's notice to flock to Washington to give Zelensky backup in this meeting with Trump. That's a level of concern that I think some people say hasn't been demonstrated since 9/11.
What? Who says it's concern? This is the stupid, like it's almost as if I don't look, I know that she doesn't have her regular CNN people doing her hair, but I wonder if it's just like there's like the smoke from her brain trying to work too hard has done something here. This is Abby. What the hell are you talking about? Why would anyone think they came there out of like, oh, I have to go there because I need to help him. Otherwise, Zelensky is going to get buried. How much of a loser do you think Zelensky is that he's not able to negotiate unless there are people holding his hand? That's what they're doing. That's what their role is. That's what you think their role is. How is it that they are? I really question. What do you think? Do you think they're really this stupid in understanding geopolitics, or is it they know that what they're saying is BS? And they just want to frame it this way because they think that this is helpful to a narrative that no one has been buying for years. I don't understand. This is the stupidest thing in the world. I think she really believes this. I think she thinks that she's got her finger on the pulse. She's like, oh, okay. Oh, you see, they're running in there because they're afraid. This is like 9/11 type concerns. What?
And it reflects a deep worry about Trump's decision-making and his need to be surrounded by a certain point of view in order to come to what they view as the right conclusion. So
first and foremost, their conclusion has clearly been wrong, given the fact that they got nowhere. And if you hear what they actually said about how Trump has been basically the lightning rod to get these peace talks going, you kind of sound like a doofus.
So I think that alone, says a lot.
No, it says nothing. It literally says nothing other than that your geopolitical acumen is so sus that it's shocking that you actually have the job you have. It shouldn't be shocking because you work for CNN. Saying Trump needs to be coddled like a child. I feel like all these people just need a hug really bad. Throwing their little temper tantrums. What you're seeing here is they're so frustrated with the good press he's gotten. Even Hillary Clinton was complimenting the job that he did. Now, granted, I said yesterday when I shared a clip of Hillary Clinton complimenting Trump and the way he's handling the Russia-Ukraine war since he came in for the second term, that I think it's very possible she's angling for some sort of clemency from him by trying to butter him up. But even she had to say, yeah, she's pretty impressed with the way he's handled this whole situation. And the left is so freaked out at the idea that their little baby, their treasured baby, and their treasured baby is obviously the Ukraine war. Not Ukraine, the Ukraine war. Zelensky and their Ukraine war may actually be ameliorated by their most vile enemy, their most bitter opponent that they basically say, hey, we have to basically try to find any way possible to hack at his ankles to try and pretend that whatever success he's had so far in getting these talks started, or whatever success he ultimately may attain, is as a minimally credible to him. That it's either he's been played, or it's the EU, which somehow got nothing done at all. The EU has made this conflict a million times worse. Now, Biden made it terrible. The EU has made it a million times worse because you cannot have, they're trying to put Zelensky in a position of strength. But basically, the position of strength is that they're giving him a giant credit card, which has billions of dollars on it. And pretending that there's no limit on that, or maybe believing that there's no limit on it, for reasons no one can explain. I want someone to explain to me, good faith argument, why it is that that the left has this obsession with criminals, an obsession with coddling them, an obsession with finding reasons to say, oh my God, you have to look at the circumstances. What about their family upbringing? Did he have a daddy? His father was in jail. It was the system. Everything was set up against him. He just never had a good education. So let's excuse the fact that he happened to butcher a family and several children because it's not his fault. And maybe we could rehabilitate him. Maybe we can fix him. Maybe they're blowing themselves up because they really have a real issue. We really should look at what their motivation and their root causes are. We need to sit there and understand, why do you have a phobia about people being terrorists? Why are you so hardline and so cruel and oppressive and insensitive to the suffering of people who are swamping your borders? Every single criminal, they're literally going down there saying, how dare you remove a vicious criminal who's not a legal alien from our geography? How dare you do that? This is the very same party who basically will coddle and lick and treasure and cherish every criminal they find and see the good in them, the rationalization as to how they're not so terrible, we should be more understanding. Every single criminal they find, with one exception, and that is war criminal Vladimir Putin. Why is that? Why don't they sit there and say, hey, maybe he's coming from an old school type of perspective and he has bad training, but it's not Russia in general. Or maybe we can try and find some way to actually sort things out with Russia. This is the one area where, if you think about it, when you're dealing with a criminal, typical petty thug, there's no danger. You have them in your control. There's no danger in basically incarcerating them. If you set them free, that there's going to be recidivism, and they're going to, if you don't really punish them, you send them free 6 months later, they're almost certain to return. And in the meanwhile, there'll just be more victims. And yet when it comes to Putin and Russia, they are the perennial forever boogeyman, no matter what they do, no matter who they are. And look, I'm not saying that Russia or Putin are good people. No. I think that they're probably, Putin in particular is probably a very terrible person. He's probably a very, very terrible person. I think the label of war criminal probably is true. I don't know it to be true, but I don't know it to be false. And enough people have said it, and then I'm hesitant to say it's definitely not true. So I'm going to give you as a given here. He's a war criminal. I don't know what he did. He's KGB. They supposedly did a whole bunch of evil things. I don't know. Maybe he's a war criminal. I'll give you because it's not relevant even if he is a war criminal, even if he's a terrible human being. So what? Is he someone that you have under your control the way you would have a common criminal? Is it someone that it's impossible to work with them? Impossible to work with them? Instead, we have to waste billions, trillions of dollars trying to fight this guy rather than actually finding some way to incentivize him to behave. You can incentivize him with money to behave. You're all so excited about incentivizing Iran to behave, All so excited. Oh my God. I'm not even talking about giving Russia money. I'm talking about creating strategic commercial alliances with the guy. I don't want to give him money, but I certainly want to give him access and to enable him to actually, you know, produce and make money as an incentive. Doesn't that make sense? Even if he's a terrible human being, just because by working with him, fewer people will be dying. Doesn't that make sense? No. This is the one unforgivable war criminal. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. This is what I was talking last night about why it is that, you know, the two wars everyone knows about, the two conflicts is Gaza, Israel, and Russia, Ukraine. And all the other wars, which he's made like 6 peace deals, we don't know anything about them. We don't know anything about them. We don't know anything about these conflicts. But the ones that continually come into our media feed, the ones that you cannot get away from hearing updates about what's happening there, and the death tolls and this and that. Even if those death tolls, which are staggeringly and frighteningly high, are much, much smaller than conflicts happening elsewhere. The number of lives lost, even one life lost, is a tragedy. But if you're looking to try and fixate on where's the biggest problem globally, you would think you would fixate on places that, you know, you have hundreds of thousands being killed in a conflict. Slaughtering. I saw a thing about in Africa, like 160,000 Christians slaughtered. No one talks about it. No one talks about it. But people care. You have to hear about I don't know, what is it, 40,000 Gazans? Why? You have to hear all about Russia and Ukraine. Why? And that's why I said, and I was speculating that the reason is that the propagandists, those wars are about propaganda. That's what the purpose of those wars are. I speculated directly about that with respect to Israel and Gaza. I've talked about that a bunch of times recently in particular. But I think that this Russia-Ukraine thing, it's about the propaganda. It's that they want the West and the Western world to really believe in this fight against Putin, that we have to get so invested. When we had a war with Putin, when Afghanistan had a war with Putin going on for, I don't know, a decade, 12 years, whatever it was, it might have been 20 years. No one heard about it. We never heard about it. Like once every couple of years, be like, oh, wow, that war's still going on? There'd be like some sort of headline about something happening in Kabul. The reason it's propaganda, it's money, it's support. That's what they care about ultimately. That's why you're hearing about it all the time. And this whole thing, the whole reason for this conflict between Russia and Ukraine is always been about money. Always, always, always. So these idiots here, and that's why Putin is the boogeyman. That's why he's the one unforgivable evil person on earth. That's why. Because he is the enemy who has to be slain. I'm trying to do a similar thing with Bibi right now. But he is the enemy who has to be slain. And that he cannot be pardoned. Someone can go out there, you know, and mass murder people, certainly if they're not white. If they're white, then the left is happy to go after them. But if they're not white, they're all too excited. They're all too excited to excuse that person. They could be Latino, they could be black, they could be anything. They'll excuse any sort of criminal. Any sort of maybe, and you could say maybe it's because Putin's white. That's why they're so harsh on him. But it's insanity. Did you Maloney hot mic moment over on Twitch? See any of the Maloney hot mic moment? Maloney? Oh, I think I played that last night. I think I played that was when she leaned in and she was talking about. Appreciate you sharing that with me. Everyone keeps sending me stuff on Twitter. You see a DM there? Kathy. Here it is. She did. This was the hot mic moment that I thought they were going to be talking about. Then I was like, well, they wouldn't play this because it just makes the American media look like jackasses. This is pretty funny.
That's all we ask for is fairness with the media. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for being so fair.
All the time.
But he loves it. He loves it. For he does it. He does it always. I never want to speak with my friend.
He's a very good player, golfer. You know.
Yeah, I know.
You go through this all the time, every day. I never want to.
But he says you always.
That's all we ask for is.
That was funny. That was funny. Trump thinks bigger than just getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I think he wants to break the record and get it consecutively for the next 4 years. He should. He should. Weakness of narrative. Yeah. They're so lame. Same thing from DM from Congo Rwanda short. Okay. Everyone's got links for me tonight. Everyone's got links.
Mr. President. So as Caroline has mentioned, President, first of all, I want to let you know that I'm the only African reporter accredited here at the White House and cover for the entire continent. So I just arrived from Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, yesterday. I went to see firsthand how the people is feeling and the president's message, President Felix Tshisekedi, about this upcoming peace deal. And let me tell you firsthand what I've witnessed myself. I spoke with the people on the street. I spoke with youth. They know your name. They know that a president named President Trump is working hard to finally bring peace to the country. I saw hope. They have hope now for a better day in Congo. They see what you're doing as a future, better future for Congo. And I had opportunity to sit down with President Felix Tshisekedi for an interview because I want to understand his mind, what he's thinking, his feeling about everything that your administration is doing. And he told me firsthand that for many years, many American presidents overlooked this conflict. They didn't do nothing. Even myself, I cover President Biden's administration. I pressed many times about this conflict. People are dying in Congo. This country has so much potential, but they need help because this war is destroying the country.
Right.
They never gave me any answer. And he told me, President Tshisekedi, that you have no idea, he's very thankful for what you're doing, for what your administration is doing. Not only him, the entire Congolese people, they see that finally they will have hope. And President Tshisekedi also mentioned at the end of my interview that when peace finally comes to Democratic Republic of the Congo, he's thinking to nominate you as a Nobel Prize Peace because he said you deserve.
If he doesn't win it, it's such a joke to the Nobel. It's such a joke. The Nobel Committee is humiliating themselves if he doesn't win it.
You have been working to bring peace in the world, not only at the Congo, and he's very hopeful to meet you in the future.
That's so nice, boy, and that's so beautifully stated. And Caroline said, number one, she did say, and I shouldn't say this because it's politically incorrect. She said, she's beautiful and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I said it anyway. But you are beautiful and you're beautiful inside. So I wish I had more reporters like you. So you covered Africa for a long time?
Yes, for over 10 years.
Wow.
I cover even your first administration.
Yes, I know that. That's great. Well, thank you. That's so nice that you said that. Appreciate it.
And I have one more question,
Yes.
Mr. President. Since we know in July or in the future, both President of Rwanda and the Congo will be coming
Yes.
to the United States. In Africa, President João Lourenço, the president of Angola, he is also the leader of African Union.
Good.
He
Yes, I know.
worked very hard to bring peace, but unfortunately,
Let's get him here.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Would you invite him for me?
Of course.
Okay.
Of
No,
course.
we'll have. I know that he works very hard, and he's the head of essentially the union. So the union all over Africa, not the kind of union that we have. This is the union all over Africa, and I'd love to have him. So you'll let him know.
Of course,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good.
Mr.
Now you go back to where you belong,
Sure.
right? That's great. That's a great job. It's real knowledge and real heart, too. Congratulations. Okay.
So there you go. There you go. The whole world loves Donald Trump. The only one who doesn't is our stupid own leftist media and their brain jackasses who still follow them. God. I think we cover enough of Atlas, but more on his piece. More on his piece. Got a little more for you here. Little more before we move on to the next story. Again, I didn't get to cover this, to check this out earlier, but
he is truly the peace president. As you mentioned, he's already conducted massive peace deals in the first 7 months of his presidency. This would be lucky number 7, so to speak, but this has been an incredibly deadly war. Almost 1 million Russian casualties, approximately 400,000 Ukrainian casualties.
No way. No way. No way. I don't know where he got those numbers. I do not believe for a second that there's 2.5 dead Russians for every dead Ukrainian. No way. No way. No. That's, look, I know he's praising Trump and everything like that. I'm just saying that's not true. That is not true. No way. Please. Please. He's been swallowing some report in there. He's been swallowing some report in there. Uzelian said he put a message in Digger chat for me. I'll check on that in a. Let me see what you gave me here in Digger chat. Joe, can you look at this map and tell me, since Trump has called these groups terrorist groups so far, military can use the T1 operators in the U.S. and them? Oh, yeah. I meant to bring this up. I meant to bring this up when I was covering the very first story. I'm glad you brought that up. And you share with me a map there. This is the map that he brought up. When I was covering that story earlier, I meant to say, I sort of had it in the back of my brain and never made it the very complex route that makes it to my mouth. But the notion of saying that we're going to war or treating them like we're at war with Venezuela likely only serves to bolster his executive order declaring Tren de Aragua being a threat. And this is highly significant. I'm very upset I didn't bring this up earlier. But the notion that he labeled them now as being, that he's sending warships down to Venezuela, part of the notion behind that could be to fortify his claims that his executive order regarding Venezuelans has justification because we're at war with them. We're at war with their cartels. So we're even sending warships there. So yeah, we have to get rid of them. And that's a very significant potential upside that he's seeing in that. And as Wrestlertown pointed out, when he said the better question is why not be there, that's a motivation to be there, right? That if he's helping to bolster his domestic policy of removing illegal aliens from Venezuela. So, and I do think it does give greater legal justification for him invoking that statute as a basis to, get rid of a dangerous potential hostile invasive force. I think that's actually a pretty shrewd move on his part. So I'm glad you reminded me of that, Uzelian. Thank you. Release the space lasers. Thank you. Thank you, you a dimwit. Much love to you and yours. That's very kind of you. And thank you, Maureen Hooper, also. All right, let's get back to Let's get back to our coverage.
The number of dead is piling up, and he just wants to increase the region. It's a very common sense idea. And once again, we see it, the United States leading again. No longer are we taking a back seat to anyone. It's America first, whether it be on tariffs or, of course, these peace deals, that the president is making sure that he is leading the world, and people recognize the United States is not only a place to do business, but also to bring peace. He is at the tip of the spear. He is Theodore Roosevelt all over again. This is why he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, not just what he's going to do potentially here, but what he did in Iran and Israel, what he did in the Middle East in general. I mean, this guy is a person who wants to move the ball forward regardless of who gets the credit, because he knows full well he'll never get the credit. But that doesn't matter. What matters is progress and empowering America once again.
What matters is
longer being a
results.
second-class citizen. I'm proud of the president for backing this up. And notice that everyone's coming to his house for an agreement. He's not going somewhere else.
Yeah, because he's a real freaking leader, and they all know it. He's 10 times the leader any of them are. Which, here's, in my original title, I'm not sure what did I have in the Trump's fury. I still have there Trump's fury. You know what gets Trump really angry? You know what gets him really angry? And this is another reason he deserves that Nobel Peace Prize. And I don't frankly give a damn if he wins it or not. The only reason I care is because it would be such an awesome troll of the Democrats. Like, they would be so outraged. That's the only reason I care. But as far as like this stupid committee, which, you know, that and the Time Man of the Year are the two stupidest things going and have been for many decades. But when you say no more passing the buck, it might be even more than you realize, Brian. It might be even more than you realize. Listen to Trump talking about the frustration, what makes him really upset. You can hear how upset he was.
And one of the things at the table was one of the gentlemen, who's a great guy, but he said, I hope I didn't insult him. He said, well, let's meet in another month or two, and let's see if we can start, making some. I said, a month or two? You're going to have another 40,000 people dead in a month or two. You have to do it tonight. And I did, actually. I called President Putin, and we're trying to work out a meeting with President Zelensky. We'll see what happens.
That's what these people want. That's what I was telling you. They want war. Oh, another month or two. Let's just say we'll come back. We'll all let these ideas settle in our minds. Let's wait a month or two. He's like, what the hell's wrong with you? He wants results. Give me results. A month or two.
There, and then if it works out, then I'll go to the trilat and close it up. And one of the
that's what got him upset. He's like a month or two. Why would you be waiting a month or two? What are we waiting for? This is Trump is a guy who gets things done. There's certain people who have that personality. The person in my life who has that personality more than anyone else that I know is Lady Lawgic, where it's like when she starts to clean, it's like this whirlwind and going and going and going and going and going like the freaking Energizer Bunny. And I'm like, I get exhausted just watching. Like, my head gets tired turning back and forth as I'm sitting there on the couch when she's cleaning. It's terrible. It's very exhausting for me. Very exhausting watching her just like, sweeping and mopping and cleaning and washing dishes. And I'm just like, it's very tiring. It's very tiring for me. It's because she's got so much energy. So yeah, bringing me my food. It's like I'm just watching back and forth. She really is. When she gets like something going, like she's like, no, let's do this now. You need someone like that around you. Anyway, Anyway, so Trump, if you remember when we were covering the fire in the Palisades and the relief that he was looking to help try to get for the poor homeowners who lost everything, and he's like, I don't even know why it should take 2 weeks to get approval. Get it done now. Get them their approvals. Why? Let's get when he flew into California. They were talking about how, like, in the next 6 months, he's like, 6 months? That's forever. Why can't these things happen now? It should be with 2 weeks. It should be working on it tonight. That's we need people like that. And part of what's great about what he's doing is that he's looking to broker and make sure, and I covered this yesterday, how that the EU will be kicking in, unlike their dilatory payments on NATO commitments. President Trump's leadership forced Russia and Ukraine to negotiate American terms, exactly how real peace is achieved. Unlike past administrations that wasted billions on endless proxy wars, Trump's strategy leverages U.S. strength to broker decisive outcomes. The Alaska summit with Putin wasn't weakness. It was a masterclass in applying pressure through diplomacy. Ceasefires aren't surrender. They're tactical pauses to reset the board in America's favor. Meanwhile, Europe finally pays its fair share instead of freeloading on U.S. defense budgets. This is how you end wars, by projecting dominance, not desperation. No more taxpayer-funded quagmires, just results. I say quagmires, but you can call it quagmires. Quagmires. Probably quagmires. So, yeah. One of the things that he talked about yesterday when he was having his Oval Office, when he had Zelensky in the Oval Office yesterday, one of the things he talked about was he was asked a question completely off topic, and even called it off topic, about mail-in ballots. I want to pull up the question. This is something I had actually forgotten that I'd asked Jim to look up, and here it is.
You pushed out on social media.
So, relating to something he had pushed out on social media. I want, in case you didn't hear it, I want everyone to be up to speed. So as we segue into the next topic, that during his meeting with Zelensky yesterday, he held an Oval Office conference, and he was asked a whole bunch of questions. And
Brian, go first. You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important?
Well, that's a very off topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses it because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things. And now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad. I hate to take.
Anyway, so that was his statement. We don't need to hear the whole 4 minutes of it. We got halfway through, and it got to the point that I wanted to cover, which is that he basically is saying he's going to be putting out an EO to try and stop mail-in ballots. This has the left freaking out. Here is Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, the woman who tried keeping Trump off the ballot in Colorado and failed 9-0. Talking about Trump's agenda with respect to mail-in ballots.
Actually, a great fact check on the president when he says mail ballots.
Oh, let's go back.
She's running to be the state's attorney general in
God, what a nightmare this woman is.
2026 and has called this a, quote, direct attack on democracy. So Secretary Griswold, your state's actually a great fact check on the president when he says mail ballots only elect Democrats. That's one of the complaints he's leveled. But Colorado has elected Republicans like Senator Cory Gardner as recently as 2014.
As recently as 2014. As recently as 11 years ago. As recently as 11 years ago. Oh, my God.
So talk about what you're seeing in the president's renewed push here and the safeguards in place that states still run their elections.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me on. And I would say President Trump is also a good fact check on President Trump. Besides the fact that he encouraged Republicans to use vote by mail in 24, he himself and his family members used mail ballots in 2020. So this is very.
How is that relevant? How is that relevant? Just because he says that this is a woman who's used to talking to people, an audience which engages in zero critical thought. Answer me, please. Answer me, please, why it is that I'm saying that the claim that assuming it's true, that he used mail-in voting and told people to use mail-in voting in 2024, that how it just why is that? Where's the logical fallacy as far as making a point that Trump is wrong for trying to stop mail-in voting? Walk me through it, because this lunatic, she's literally a lunatic. And she's used to dealing with an audience which is just be like, yeah, he used them. Yeah, he used them. So he told his audience to use mail-in ballots. Yeah, because it's available, and that's the only way you can do it. And that's, and they're not gonna be able to get to the ballot. They're not gonna be able to get in there. So he doesn't want to say don't go. Don't vote. Rather than vote if it's available, he's just saying he doesn't want it available for anybody. So yeah, if it's available, so he might mail in a ballot. That doesn't mean it's not a corrupt system. That doesn't mean anything. It's got nothing at all to do with the topic that he's like, this is a corruptible system. Yeah, I can send in my ballot. You'll send in 5,000 ballots that you just printed out of thin air. You just writing ballots. Oh, over here. Here's another ballot with no verification, no way of checking to actually ensure that the person who's registered to vote is the one who signed off on these ballots. Is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Does that mean that his vote won't count if he sends it in? I think he's relying on the fact that they will count. He's just worried that you're going to swamp and flood it with all sorts of ridiculous ballots. So how is the fact that he personally voted that way or told his people to vote that way in any way refuting his point that it's the most easily corruptible system on earth? It's so dumb. So no, that's not fact checking. That's not fact checking the way Trump is fact checking Trump, doofus.
Clear, an American president is taking advice on democracy from a sitting dictator.
Okay, it's not okay. Sitting dictator. This is it's like they only know like 12 buzzwords that they just have to throw out. Democracy, dictator. This is what. It's not democracy. Okay, we're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. In case I haven't given this lecture in a while, so let me. We are not a democracy. We have never been a democracy. We will never be a democracy. And that is a good blessing that we received from our founding fathers, who decided that rather than going with the really, really simple, any 4-year-old kid could figure out the notion of having democracy, they recognized that the notion of having democracy is a recipe for pure evil and tyranny to reign. That there will be a tyranny of the minority by the majority. Democracy, pure democracies, as the old adage goes, is two wolves and a sheep voting on what to eat for dinner. That's what a democracy is. The left loves projecting that democracy is good, but our founding fathers had sufficient insight, wisdom, and education to recognize that historically democracies ate themselves alive. They decided to set us on a path to having a healthy country for centuries, and in large degree succeeded, despite the best efforts of the left to try and kibosh that, certainly over the last 7 decades, and ramping up those efforts over the last 2 to 3 decades. But the notion that we have a democracy is historically inaccurate, and a foolish notion that any society would be a healthier place if, in fact, we had a democracy. We don't have a democracy. And whenever the Democrats talk about preserving democracy, they rely on the fact that their idiot cheap followers will think that that means a good thing, which it clearly does not mean a good thing, never has meant a good thing, only means terrible things will ensue, and fascism and control, because frankly, Adolf was elected. Democracies aren't necessarily something that means this is good things happening. Putin was elected. President Xi was elected. The point is the system that you're engaging and the nature of the system. And yeah, elections are an important element to our constitutional republic, and giving power to the people to decide who their leaders are, to have representation that they hopefully to some degree or another actually get to choose for themselves. But when you come in here and you say we're gonna throw shade on and suspicion on the integrity of our elections, you are not even standing up for democracy. You are opposing democracy. To the extent that democracy is a positive, you're standing in its way. Because you're basically, the whole point to a democracy is that the people feel as if they are actually getting leadership from someone who they are voting for. And to the degree that you are hiding the integrity, and you're throwing question into the integrity of our elections, and then hiding behind and doing your bean counting behind closed doors, and making Americans question the legitimacy of our election, to the extent that democracy is an important element to our constitutional republic, you are cheapening it and making it feel as if it is useless. And everyone sees it and everyone knows it. But you sit there saying, democracy, 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 and you think that that's actually winning an argument. But whenever Democrats say democracy, they mean democratic power. That's what they mean. They don't mean democracy. They don't mean free and fair elections. They just mean he's threatening democratic power. He's threatening that we're going to have more Republicans. That's what they mean every single time.
Who can only hold on to power through undemocratic, rigged elections.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This guy has had more. The man pictured next to you has had more votes to be president of the United States than any human in history. He won 3 consecutive primaries, crushing by greater and greater margins every time. Frankly, 2020 probably had a greater margin than 2024. And his ballot total just kept going up and up and up and up. So what are you talking about? This is so the pot calling the kettle. She makes our elections less secure, and then has the audacity to say that the only way that, and then she throws questions about the legitimacy of our elections by saying that the only way he can have power is by stealing it in his rigged election.
An American president is taking advice on democracy from a sitting dictator who can only hold on to power through undemocratic, rigged elections.
I don't even know.
That should be scary to every American.
I don't even know if she's talking about Zelensky. I don't know who she's talking about that. I don't even know what the hell she's babbling about. She's just throwing out buzzwords And I don't even think she's trying to form cogent sentences.
American who is aware of the situation. At the end of the day, Ali, this is an attempted power grab by Donald Trump. He is attacking democracy, and we will not let him win. Look, he has absolutely no power to issue an executive order on elections. The Constitution is extremely clear.
On that point, I think she might have a point. From a legal perspective, I think she might have a point.
States oversee elections, not Trump. I will fight him on this. We have beat him over and over in attempts to roll back mail ballots in 2020, and I plan to do.
No, you didn't beat him over and over in his attempt to roll back. Because first and foremost, you didn't fight him on that. He never fought in Colorado. What are you talking about? When did you beat him? The last time you faced off against him, you lost 9-0 in the Supreme Court. What are you babbling about?
That again, we will not allow him to disenfranchise millions of American voters for his petty games and trying to hold his weak MAGA control over the country.
I want to dig a little deeper on what you're talking about there when you say
They all look like this. They all look like this. She's basically the end of her administrative term from like shaving one side of her head and dyeing the other half blue.
you're going to fight him on this. You'll plan to challenge the Trump administration, I imagine, in court if they follow through with this. So talk about the legal basis for the case. I imagine it's a little bit more of that constitutional law that you're talking about.
Yes. Again, the president does not have the ability to regulate American elections. He already issued one executive order on elections. They are losing every legal argument because they are just making things up. We are still a country of rule of law. And again, mail ballots are secure. They cannot be hacked by foreign adversaries like Russia. Russia is a foreign adversary.
Russia hacked. She's still swallowing that. She's still trying to sell that on MSNBC. And then the 14 people watching her, she wants, hey, you 14 people, just know, remember when they hacked in 2016? Look at her trying to sell that. Look at her. Look at her. Oh, baby. Oh, so good.
Because they're a piece of paper. Trump has made our elections.
I don't think it's symmetrical at all. It's okay. I'm glad a woman brought this up because I wanted to. I really did. I was just like, this is going to be taken the wrong way. This is going to be taken the wrong way. I don't think her face is symmetrical at all. I don't think her face is symmetrical. I think that she has one of the weirdest faces I've ever seen. I wasn't going to bring this up. But yeah, there's a lot wrong there.
Less secure since taking the presidency again. He has disbanded the DOJ and Department of Homeland Security's.
Pew Research Center. I don't believe this at all. 72% very or somewhat confident. I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all. I guess the ones who voted. Let's see. I don't even know what this means. Claymation mouth? Maybe that's what it is. So in 2024, I don't even understand what the point here. 19% of Republicans said they have very or somewhat confident, and 80% were lacking any confidence. And then when we had less mail-in voting, many more people were confident. I don't understand what the point is to this little graphic they're showing here.
Work on foreign interference. We are proud to have mail ballots. They're the most secure way to vote. And by the way, our voters like them. In the 2024 general election, 92% of Republicans.
Yeah, they like the results. They had confidence that we had an actual proper result. You're going to tell me that they're so secure. That's what you're going to tell me. Okay. One more last little clip of her before we take the other side of the coin here.
We are in conversations.
That is claymation mouth. That is, I think he nailed it.
With our attorneys to make sure we're defending.
Plus it looks as if like she basically, She has like a very, she's like a moon face. She has like a moon, that classic moon face with a claymation mouth. Like way too much distance between lip and nose. And just sort of like this mop hair type of thing happening. That's my speculation, Kimmy. I wasn't going to break it down for y'all. I wasn't. But when my audience weighs in, I feel as if it's incumbent upon me to, you know, give my perspective. And this was what Kimmy weighed in with. And I think that that's what she does have, like her mouth moves in very weird directions. She has this big, wide moon face. Always has a word expression with her eyebrows and the mop hair. Everything here is just wrong. Just a lot wrong.
Colorado's elections. Look, mail ballots are secure. They cannot be hacked because they're a piece of paper. That is increasingly more important as Trump has made our elections less secure since taking office again. He's disbanded much of the federal government's work on countering foreign disinformation and is obviously taking cues about democracy from a dictator, Putin. And we're in
Obviously, he got everything from Putin, obviously. So she wants you to believe that mail-in ballots are the most secure thing in the world. That's what she's trying to, that's her point. Now, it's weird that she would say that because this guy over here, I got an ad loading.
I work from home, so bundling Spectrum, internet,
They don't even
and
let me
TV
turn
has
the
been
audio
super important
down.
for our family.
I do online work. I also do remote programming.
Our bills have been.
I'm waiting for the ad to finish doing its thing.
I yield to Mr. Nadler.
Thank you. It's a very tempting point. As a very.
This is Democratic Representative Jerry Nadler giving us his thoughts on mail-in voting all the way back in 2004.
And so public oversight is eliminated. Excellent point, and I yield to Mr. Nadler.
Thank you. It's a very tempting point. As a very experienced practical politician from New York, I feel constrained to observe that in my experience in New York, paper ballots are extremely susceptible to fraud. And at least with the old clunky voting machines that we have in New York, the deliberate fraud is way down compared to paper. When the machines break down, they vote on paper. We've had real problems. So there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. I'm simply observing that as a problem. There's got to be a way of getting the best of our methodologies.
But in fact, the MIT studies have shown that hand-counted paper ballots are among the most reliable. And at least if there's a miscount, you can discover it. You can't discover miscounts with these
Then
machines.
maybe optical scan with paper. I want a paper trail. I want paper somewhere, but pure paper with no machines. I can show you experience, which would make your head spin.
And we thank you for the question you raised. It's a very important issue of whether there should be machines or paper, which has not been discussed before now.
Look at that. So I don't know what you're talking about, Jenna Griswold. Don't know what you're saying. Well, maybe that was back in 2004. Maybe you think to yourself, that was ages ago. That's not what, like, there's no fraud happening now. Oh, what's this? But what's this? Michigan lawmaker under investigation after late night ballot stuffing video emerges. A Hamtramck city council member in Michigan is facing scrutiny after seemingly being captured on video participating in stuffing ballots into an official drop box just days before his primary election victory. Video footage obtained by local force seemingly shows council member Abu Musa in a black vehicle on August 1st handing what appears to be stacks of ballots to a driver who then places them in the city ballot drop box. Musa went on to receive over 1,129 votes in last week's primary election. Look at this. He won by just a few dozen votes. Surveillance video allegedly showing Musa depositing stacks of ballots in a drop box days before the primary election. Can we get this? I got more. We got more. Wait, there's more. There's more coming. Oh no. How many more we got? All right, we'll come back later. Okay, there we go. There we go. Two Hamtramck City, Michigan City, Michigan council members, Mohammed Hassan and Mutasin Sadman, charged with election fraud for allegedly forging ballots. The thing that Democrats say never happens, happened again. In an interview with WXYZ, Oakland County Clerk Lisa Brown explained the rules governing ballot drop-offs, noting that while there is no limit to how many ballots one person can submit, they must belong to a household members or immediate family. It's an immediate family member, or you co-inhabit with somebody. You can return their absentee ballots. At this time, Musa has not been charged with any wrongdoing. The investigation comes amid election-related charges against two other Hamtramck City council members. Mutsin Sadman and Mohammed Hassan are facing felony charges for allegedly forging signatures on absentee ballots during the city's 2023 council race. Let's check out. OMG, it gets worse. Half of the entire Hamtramck Michigan City Council members have been charged for committing election fraud.
Both men are accused of forging signatures on absentee ballots in a tight general election. They're pleading not guilty and vowing to attend tonight's city council meeting, which is getting underway right now. But as 7 News Detroit's Ruta Olsenaida found out, they're not the only city officials who've recently been accused of wrongdoing. She went to today's hearing to get some answers.
The list is pretty long for the charges that these two councilmen are now facing. Election law forgery, forging signatures on an absentee ballot. The accused didn't say much inside the courtroom, but residents are demanding answers. It's like a slap in the face to the rest of the community. Hamtramck resident and former city councilwoman Andrea Karpinski says she's disappointed with city leadership, so much so that she actually resigned in 2020. So from being on city council to what you're seeing now, what goes through your head?
It's frustrating. When I was on city council, it was a pride. You know, I felt pride to be a part of the community, to be a leader in the community, and now it's kind of a joke.
This week, the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office charged City Councilman Muhtasin Sadman and Councilman Mohammed Hassan with forging absentee ballots, election law forgery, and other felonies tied to the 2023 general election. On Tuesday, both men appeared in court, and 31st District Court Judge Alexis Crott set a personal bond for the two with some conditions, including giving up their passports. But the two men did not have much to say. In fact, they stood mute as their attorneys put in their not guilty pleas. So we took the questions to them.
Did you forge any election ballots?
Sir, are you innocent? But no response is not good enough for this community.
When we have, actions like these or, incidents like these, then it undermines that faith in the system.
On top of these charges, two other city councilmen are accused of not living in the city. The police chief was also suspended by the city manager for allegedly violating department policy, and the city manager was
So
then
much
in turn
corruption.
suspended by city council.
It's like unending. It seems like a circus, and it's sad.
We reached out to Mayor Amer Ghalib, who told us in a statement, quote, "I have always been advocating for free, fair, and transparent elections." He went on to say, whoever committed any frauds should face consequences, but we want to ensure fair trial for everyone, and justice should prevail at the end.
So there you go. But Jenna Griswold wants to tell you that mail-in ballots, A-OK. Very, very secure. Very, very secure. So what if Jerry Manella says no? So what if there's if even now, even in an odd number year, we're seeing election issues? So what? Completely fair. The best system. It's a great system. The best. And the final story I wanted to share with you relates to an update on what's happening in Texas. Now, this is last week I told you about how the Texas state Democrats, the Democrats from the Texas state legislature, the House of the Texas state legislature, bolted for Illinois at the behest of J.B. Pritzker, and at the invitation of J.B. Pritzker and the behest of Hakeem Jeffries in order to break quorum. At the time, Texas was in the process of trying to implement a vote whereby they were going to redraw their state's congressional maps based on changes in the law to the 1965 Voting Rights Act that were found by the Fifth Circuit. So I don't want to review everything about that whole story, but I do want to give you an update. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that story, a just brief synopsis. There had been a law on the books which said that certain congressional districts are supposed to be specially drawn up to ensure that minorities don't get screwed over in the way you draw up your map. And the law that goes back several decades said that you can take minority A and minority B, put them together, and then say that, hey, these two groups can join together and get their own special, what's called majority district, because they're collectively a majority of the people in the area. That's what the law had been. In January 2024, the Fifth Circuit said, 9, no more, niet, no, adios. They said if you're a majority, if it's a minority under the 1965 Voting Rights Act, the way they understand that statute, if they are a majority in a particular area, one minority group is, then you have your special district. But if you can only attain that you're a majority of the population, that this minority is a majority of the population, by mixing them together with a different group, that is not appropriate. And in fact, it's actually reverse racism. So that's what the Fifth Circuit said in 2024. Harmeet Dillon notified Governor Abbott, hey, you got all these districts which were drawn up specially for based on that premise that we were mixing together two different minorities to try and give them their own special district. You're not allowed to do that anymore. That's violating the Fifth Circuit principle. It's unfair. So you need to redraw your maps. Governor Abbott went into action, and they realized that with the new maps that they're drawing up, that they can gerrymander for the Republicans and likely get 5 new seats in Texas, including stripping away Jasmine Crockett's ability or likelihood of success in her next election. So they wanted to vote to change the maps. The House Democrats said, oh, we don't really like this, so we're going to storm on out of here, and that way you won't have a quorum to vote. We're going to have a quorum, you can't get this thing to pass. The whole back and forth exchange between both Abbott and Paxton trying to go through the courts in order to draw them back in. They finally did return. Now, upon their return, here's what's going on. When Texas House Democrats fled the chamber on August 4, 2025, they did so with a single objective to break quorum and stall a vote on redistricting. It was not the first time Texas Democrats engaged in this tactic, but this latest exodus tested the limits of institutional patience. Republicans responded by reaching deep into the House rulebook, invoking rarely used powers designed precisely for moments like this. House rules authorize the Speaker to issue a call of the House. Once a call is ordered, absent members can be compelled to attend. The rule is explicit. The Speaker may direct the Sergeant at Arms or officers appointed by him to arrest and return members needed to restore quorum. On that August afternoon, Speaker Dustin Burrows did not hesitate. He ordered a call of the House and, in an unambiguous gesture of seriousness, issued arrest warrants for the absent Democrats. This time, the financial stick was also brought down swiftly. Under newly adopted rules, members who break quorum incur a $500 per day penalty. Unlike the discretionary fines of previous walkouts, this penalty is automatic. Burrows confirmed publicly that fines were accruing daily. The cost of apprehension is also automatic unless the House votes by a simple majority to excuse payment. Yet, many Republicans were frustrated that the rogue Democrats did not lose any privileges of tenure, such as parking spots, committee assignments, or chairmanships. None were stripped of committee roles or leadership positions. Readers should take note that under current House rules, stripping a member of a committee chairmanship requires a 2/3 vote of the members present and voting. The Speaker cannot act unilaterally on such matters, which explains why these sanctions were not imposed, despite the anger of many in the GOP. Yet, despite the warrants, the Democrat was physically arrested during the first special. No Democrat was physically arrested during the first special session. DPS troopers searched, but Burrows controlled both the method of enforcement and the resources assigned. Many Republicans, bristling at what they viewed as timidity, that he was a coward, this Texan Republican, demanded more aggressive pursuit. Their frustration was not misplaced. Authority unused risks becoming authority undone. With the second special session came a change in tactics. On August 18th, when Democrats returned from their 2-week absence, they entered a chamber under new rules of control. Burrows announced that those who had fled would now remain under the watchful custody of DPS troopers whenever outside the House chamber. The point was unmistakable. They had defied the rules once. They would not be permitted to do so again. Shelley Luther sent out, "This is very scary and threatening. Hall pass the quorum breakers had to sign before they were allowed to leave the Texas House floor today. Excuse me, can I go to the bathroom?" Well, we're going to have to send a monitor with you. Why? Because they've already wasted hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars with their little 14-day field trip. Now a Dem is still on the floor because she didn't want to sign the form and sleep in a cozy bed tonight. It's always the victim card. Time to redistrict the Texas House seats. And there it says, Representative Wu is granted permission to leave the Hall of the House on this day in the custody of a designated officer of the Department of Public Safety appointed under Rule 5, Section 8. That's the hall pass. This is really funny. This is really, really funny. House rules of procedure on the condition that the representative will return to the Hall of the House at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Oh, God. So good. Yeah, so that's what's going on. So always playing the victim card. This is one of the Democrats here. Tweet out, "This was my night, bonnet and all, in the Texas Lage. Showing for wrestling. Maybe if you hadn't fled your job the first time, such measures wouldn't have to be taken to ensure you don't do it again." It's true. You're lucky you spent it there rather than in a cell. Anyway, that's what I got for you tonight, my friends. I think it's time to start winding down. It is, right? It's time to start winding down. And do it relatively quickly because I missed this. Uzelian. How did I miss this? Uzelian sent this map. I covered that. I missed the map. I apologize that I missed that. But I did cover it ultimately. I don't know how I missed that earlier. But we're good there. We are good there. All right, my friends. I thank you all for joining me. I look forward to coming back and joining you tomorrow evening, God willing. Until that happens, I just want to remind you all that lab meat is not something that should ever be crossing your lips. It's not meant for you. It was never meant for you. God does not want you eating that. God wants you to eat real meat. That's what God wants for you. Maybe some chicken, some fish, real meat, not the lab meat. It's not meant for you. It's meant for they, them, not you. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Don't even think about it, no matter how much candy they put on it, how they dice it up or what. No, don't eat the bugs. Have a good night, you all. And as always, Godspeed.